Now, one other thing I actually thought about was just to show you how you might actually want to turn this into a beam stiffener. So I'm going to bring back my original solid. And actually, let me show you a little trick here too. If I want to match these thicknesses exactly, there's a mid-surface element thickness and offset updater. So I'm going to go back and map to the original solid, the mesh from these surfaces. And you'll see what it does. It sets up the thickness and offset to match the original solids. You kind of get those padded up and down regions on your part. So the thicknesses more or less match the original solid. So for a coarse mesh, it's about as good as you're going to get. Now let's do that beam thing. So I'm just going to hide my mesh for a minute. We'll hide this piece of geometry. Let's bring up our original solid. I'm going to try to pull a property off out of here. And the game I'm going to play is, I don't want to mess with him, so I'm just going to do a geometry, copy, solid, and just copy him in place. So now I've just got a copy of that part, and I'm just going to split him. I want to get the cross section of one of these stiffeners. And so what we'll do is we'll do the geometry editing, curve break at the midpoint. And then at a locations, let's say that curve. And project that point over. Same thing here. So there's going to be kind of a perpendicular cut. Let's just slice this guy in half. And I'll pick those 3 points. And what I really want here now is just half this guy. So just delete 1/2. And I really just want the little stiffener part. So let's do this point to edge. And then all I want to do is just grab that one surface. So geometry, copy, surface, just in place. Then I can delete that solid. So now I've just got that little thing to use as my cross section. Let's see here. What I'd like to do is use that reference point right there to ride this cross section along. So I need to get that point onto the plane. So let's say geometry point. I want to intersect a curve and a surface. Make sure I got the right curve there. So now I got a point in space. Perfect. So I'm going to create a cross section using that piece. So I'll say new, and this will be a beam. And we've got a shape here, and I can say I'm going to use a general section. And I'll actually pick the reference point. So here's the surface I want to use as my cross section. This is its y-axis, will be along the edge of the stiffener. And the reference point, I'm going to pick that point right there. So you can see it kind of grabs that cross section, calculates all its property, but the neat thing is the reference point right there. Say okay. I got that property. So now what we'll do, let's get my model back on here. And we'll get the mesh back on. So what I'm going to do is, let's delete the mesh on the stiffener surfaces. We'll keep the property, and we'll keep it anyway because it's still got other elements. So let's go now and put that beam on there. So I can set up these curves, pre-tell them I want you to get that fastener mesh or get that beam mesh. So I'm going to pick my beam property, and I want to say use the reference point to orient it. And then the orientation vector, we'll just pick this one. We might have to adjust the other ones later. Yeah, that's actually we probably should have done. Let's set up a different vector because this thing is curved a little bit. So let's set up, use reference point. It's asked me for the vector. Then we'll do this one separate because they can't all have one reference vector. use reference points and vector. And now we'll mesh those curves. And it'll automatically know to use those beams. And those beams will be in there. So I turn on their thicknesses and cross section. You'll see that my beams are in there, right in the right location.